Okay, so this is Catherine. This is my Milestone 4 progress video. I went with the art path with the particle system. My video is a bit jittery, sorry about that. But I just kind of I expanded on the gun beam that we did in class and incorporated it into my grapple effect that I had going on from before. So, basically what's happening is, I'm going to show it first and then I'll go through kind of the code and how I did it. So, she has this beam, I guess you could say, this energy power in her hands, and it's just following her around between her hands. When you aim and you fire at a thing you can grapple onto, she throws it, so the end beam goes down there, it changes color when she's gliding, it changes back, and then goes back to her hands. So last milestone I had like a cable that was similar, but now I've changed it out for this particle effect, which I like a lot more. And she throws it, and it changes color. Oh yeah, two other things. When she hits the thing at first, a particle effect spawns, so you can see, bam, that explosion. And then also when she falls to the ground, bam, that was kind of hard to see. But there's little lightning sparks at her feet, which is just another particle effect that I put in there. So there's the bam explosion, and then bam, there's those little sparks at her feet. So anyways, okay. How I did that. So the gun beam system was basically what we started doing in class, but I made some more things, some user parameters. So I have the start and the end as user parameters, but I also have the color and the spawn count. So I can manipulate all of those from the blueprint. So in the blueprint, this is kind of a mess right now. It needs to be cleaned up. But on event begin play, in this part, I'm setting up the particle effect. So I'm making it activated. I'm setting this variable is hooked to false, setting the spawn count to 15, and then setting up the colors that I want for the idle color and the active color, and then actually plugging in that idle color to this color parameter, right here, which goes right here. So that happens on begin play, and then during the grapple, this is kind of a mess, but basically the notify sends this message, the animation montage sends this notify at kind of the peak of her throw right here. So that's when it looks like she's thrown the thing. So that's when I want the beam to change from being between her hands to being on the hooked object. So I set is hooked to true. I set this variable beam location to be the location of the hooked object reference. I set the spawn count to 250. I realized I wanted to increase the spawn count when she throws it because it would stretch, like the effect looked like it stretched out super far. So I wanted to make sure that there were more spawning when it was, thrown long, so it didn't look as stretched. And then right here is just the impact effect, that little explosion. I'm spawning this emitter at the hooked object's location. And this effect is just one of the particle effects that were in the dark weapons, the dark weapons sci-fi thing that we imported. So yeah, I just spawned one of those to see if I could spawn things at locations. Anyways, so this hooked thing is set to true, and this beam end location is changed. But what does that actually do? Well, in my event tick, basically down here, I have my two variables, start location and end location, and every tick, I'm making sure that the actual parameters in the gun particle effect system are being set. So once again, those are these in the emitter setup, the beam start and beam end. So those are being set every frame, but then it's just a matter of changing these variables based on what I want. So that's what I'm also doing right here in the event tick, is all the time I want the start of the beam to be in her left hand, so that's always the same. But then I have this boolean, if she's hooked, I'm going to make sure that the end of the beam is set to her right hand. And then when it is when it is hooked, I set the beam location to the hooked object's location right here. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how I'm changing the start and end locations based on where I want. And then obviously at the end, I'm setting is hooked back to false, so then it'll go back to her right hand, the beam end will, and I'm resetting the spawn count to be lower while it's in between her hands. So I think that's it with the gun beam. Like I said, right here was where I spawned that other impact particle effect that was just from the dark weapons stuff that we imported in. And then the only other thing is I wanted to see if I could spawn particle effects from the animation montages, and yes, it is pretty easy. Right here, right when she hits the ground, her feet hit the ground, I use this notify to spawn this special ability surface thing, so it looks like, you know, she kind of hits the ground with that lightning effect. And once again, this was from the dark weapons as well. So yeah, I think that is all I got for this milestone. I wanted to do some more, but I just didn't have time to play around with the particle effects some more, but I'm pretty happy with this. Oh, the color changing. I mean, that's pretty simple as well. I set up those colors in the beginning, like I said, into those variables, and then right here, stitched in haphazardly, I set the beam color to the active color with this setting the color parameter, and then at the end, wait, where do I do that? Oh yeah, right here is when she's done grappling, I reset the beam color to the idle color. So yeah, just gonna do it one more time to see that I covered everything. Change the color, go down, particle effect, and it goes back to our hands. Yep. Okay, so that's all I got. That is my milestone 4 video.